Well, several Austin area restaurants are helping Kerr County and Central Texas recover from floods. They raised nearly $500,000, and our partners at the Austin American-Statesman report that Guy plus Larry restaurants, they raised more than $206,000. The group owns a lot of well-known restaurants. They own Red Ash, Roaring Fork, ATX Cocina, and Salty Sow. P. Terry's raised $150,000 in a single day last week. Remember when those lines were wrapped around the block practically? Juice Land announced it donated more than $18,000. The hospitality group that owns Clark's Oyster Bar and Sammy's, they've also given more than $90,000. And if you'd like to help the flood victims, KVUE and our sister stations have launched the Tegna Texas Flood Relief Fund to raise money for flood recovery. Scan the QR code on your screen now or look for the story on our website, KVUE.com, to make a donation. You can also text the word donate to the number on your screen, 459-9442. We are partnering with the Communities Foundation of Texas to get assistance to where it's needed most. And so far, we've raised more than $442,000.
Oh, that is so wonderful. Thank you for helping our fellow Texans. And I wanted to give you another update right now. This is I-35 at North Lamar for northbound travel. Still no good. We've got an 18-wheeler pulled off following a crash involving a couple other vehicles. Austin police currently working the scene, seeing movement in that left-hand shoulder, in that lane, I should say. And it is still pretty slow, though, on the frontage road as well. So continue to avoid the stretch approaching Palmer Lane. KC, tell us the good news.
Yeah, I mean, this is a sight for sore eyes. A completely dry 7-day forecast. Lots of sunshine. We've got what's just going to be a quiet weather pattern that will last straight through the remainder of the week and into the weekend and next week. Temperatures set to remain at and slightly above average as we climb back to around 98 degrees by Monday and Tuesday.
All right, be sure to hop on to Daybreak Plus on KVUE Plus. We have another hour coming your way. Well, thanks for joining us for Daybreak Plus here on KVUE Plus, streaming free on your TV. I'm Yvonne Nava.
And I'm Hannah Rucker. A good Wednesday morning to you, Central Texas. And of course, we've got meteorologist Casey Sherman, who is joining us. Happy Wednesday, y'all. How are we doing?
Happy Wednesday. Middle of the week.
We're doing
fine.
fine.
Middle of the week slump where you're kind of like, you've reached the peak and then you're like, okay, we're just going to make it.
Keep it going.
Chug
along.
Good news this morning. We're finally today kicking off a nice stretch of dry weather. We are flood watch free, flash flood warning free, flood advisory free, you name it. Quiet conditions settling in. That's going to be the case here for the next several days, at least for the next week. Currently a cloudy sky as we kick off now this Wednesday morning. Temperatures in the upper 70s. I do expect this cloud deck will erode a little bit more as we head into this morning and things start to warm up. We should see a good amount of sunshine today. We're in those upper 70s, dew points in the lower 70s. We still have the humidity, but we don't have the kind of storm energy across the area to help produce rain and thunderstorms. A nice quiet radar. That green you see is just some ground clutter that the radar is currently picking up on a little bit closer to it. Temperatures right now at 80 degrees for Georgetown, a mild start there, 79 for San Marcos. You're in those middle 70s out across the hill country. Temperatures right now in the upper 70s out across the coastal plains. Today again, quiet conditions. The mostly cloudy sky will eventually become mostly sunny by this afternoon as we reach highs to around 96 degrees for today. I still think our heat index is going to be pushing into the upper 90s and lower 100s, but a pretty seasonable mid-July afternoon. 96 degrees on the dot. Dry weather as we typically see in what is normally our second driest month out of the year, being July. Good to see that we're kind of getting with the program here after what has been just such an active start to the month. So much drier for the rest of the week. We've got a bit of a warming trend ahead as we head into the next several days. Some of us could see some rain, not a lot, as we are tracking a little bit of tropical moisture associated with something that we are currently tracking in the tropics that'll have a chance of becoming a tropical depression or tropical storm. I'll have the details on that coming up in just a bit.
Something to keep an eye on with that, but in the meantime, we're going to focus on everything drying out finally. Thank you so very much, Casey. It is 7:04 and great news here. They finally cleared up this crash involving that 18-wheeler for northbound travel at North Lamar. You can see all those lanes open back up. And then, of course, you know, all that overflow into the frontage road. That's going to start, seeing that movement again. And it was slowing down a little bit southbound. I think everyone just kind of trying to take a look around, but it was several miles of that backup. That has cleared. It looks like we do have a new incident just north of Pflugerville up here. I'm going to check in on that. And then that incident at Parmer from a little bit earlier also cleared up. We do still have a little over 65 flood-related closures across the region. So not out of the woods just yet. A lot of these roads are still also needing to be repaired from some of the water damage just from the different rounds of rain we've had over the last week and a half. And then, of course, some of these flood-related closures are going to be ongoing, especially along the Guadalupe River. If you're heading out there today, please drink plenty of water with all of the volunteer efforts ramping back up.
Well, Central Texas continues to recover from flash floods, and right now a big focus is rebuilding a bridge along RM 1431 over Cow Creek. TxDOT says the bridge is really a vital connector between Lago Vista, Marble Falls, and Cedar Park. Earlier this morning, KVUE's Jessica Cha checked on the progress on bridge repairs.
We are on the south side of Cow Creek Bridge, where TxDOT crews have been preparing this area in order to get ready for future construction. They have some big machinery where they've been clearing away debris and a lot of that vegetation that washed in from the flood. And as you can take a look, they have cleared away a bunch of vegetation, but there's still some left to go. And as you can see, there are no pieces of the bridge left. The only thing connecting this side of the roadway to the other side is a big ravine with Cow Creek flowing in between. Now, people who live here say they need that bridge back. Ever since it's been gone, people who live in the community say it's lengthened their commute times by up to 30 minutes to up to an hour. TxDOT officials say crews have been working around the clock to design a new bridge, and once debris is cleared and a contractor is selected, TxDOT says it will be able to start construction. Now, they hope to complete the work within 60 days as they get financial incentives for the early completion. And some people who live in this area say losing the bridge has added significant time onto the route, like we mentioned. And while many are eager for a speedy resolution, they also say they want the work to be done properly.
I definitely want it done right. Because there are other routes around, I'd rather take the safest and do it, not slow, but with the precautions included.
And with the school year fast approaching, TxEd officials say they are working with Marble Falls ISD in order to help kids who live on the far side of the creek be able to get to school while this construction is being completed. In Marble Falls, Jessica Cha, KVUE News.
Well, the Marble Falls Volunteer Fire Department has announced the end of watch for Chief Michael Phillips. Phillips disappeared during the floods on July 5th. He was last seen driving an emergency vehicle during a rescue operation near Cow Creek. The vehicle was found 2 miles away, but Phillips has not been found. According to his Facebook profile, Phillips served as a volunteer fire chief for the past 3 decades, 30 years. Well, this morning we're learning more about lives lost in the deadly flash floods across Central Texas and the Hill Country. And one victim was 57-year-old Army veteran Bill Giovanni Venus. His son William says Bill worked 6 days a week, delivering medications on a night shift. Early on July 5th, he finished his route and drove home to Belton through Burnett. The floods hit as he was driving. He was on the phone with his girlfriend when he disappeared.
He told her that he didn't think that he was going to make it, and then there was a bunch of water noise in the phone. And seeing somebody like that die the way he did, it just doesn't seem fair.
Well, William found his father's body 2 days after he disappeared. He's in the process of creating a digital memorial to celebrate his father's life. For more information on how to contribute, visit KVUE.com. Such a sad story. Well, today, Austin's Homeland Security and Emergency Management Office is hosting its July Emergency Preparedness pop-up event. And the first 25 people will get an emergency kit backpack with lanterns, battery-powered chargers, personal cooling supplies, and items for kids and pets. You can get one backpack per household. To pick up yours, stop by the Twin Oaks Branch Library in South Austin from 3 until 6 p.m. Well, Texas safety Michael Taff used his time at SEC Media Days to honor lives lost during the Texas floods. Look at this burnt orange tie that he wore. It was stitched with 27 sets of initials representing the kids and staff who died from Camp Mystic.
Anything Michael does never surprises me.
So it's all the daughters, the 8-year-old girls that passed away in the cabins, and then their 2 counselors who gave their lives being heroes trying to save those daughters.
He's above of a very big thinker. He's a very big doer. He takes action and he follows up his words with action.
What they did, they should be heroes. They should be remembered.
There's nothing that he's doing around this that is surprising to me, because that's who he is.
Michael, you are a kind man. Now, last week, he also spent about 2 hours at P. Terry's signing autographs and making sure that people knew about the company's fundraiser. P. Terry's raised a total of $150,000 for flood relief. If you'd like to help the flood victims, KVUE and our sister stations, they have launched the Tegna Texas Flood Relief Fund to raise money for flood recovery. Scan the QR code on your screen or look for the story on KVUE.com to make a donation. You can also text the word donate to the number on your screen. We are partnering with the Communities Foundation of Texas to get assistance to where it's needed most. And so far, we've raised more than $442,000. Keep those donations coming. We're taking a live look at the state capitol. In less than a week, lawmakers returned to Austin for a special session, and they have filed at least 95 bills so far. None of the bills address the deadly floods over the 4th of July weekend or congressional redistricting. So instead, the bills are focusing on other parts of Governor Abbott's 18-item agenda. And lawmakers can only vote on bills the governor approves. They filed bills to cut property taxes, ban taxpayer-funded lobbying, and limit abortion medications. State Representative Valerie Swanson filed a bill to require people who are transgender to use bathrooms that match their birth sex in schools and government buildings. Yesterday, Governor Abbott spoke in Fort Worth and called for flood-related measures he wants lawmakers to pass.
Something that needs to be significantly improved, and that is communication interoperability. It's an issue that many of you have been talking about for years, an issue that's a big challenge in so many communities. We have to get that done and get it done right.
Clerk will ring the bell.
State lawmakers have filed a host of other bills that are not on the special session agenda, such as expanding Medicaid eligibility and a state-funded high-speed rail along Interstate 35. But again, lawmakers can only vote on bills related to topics on the agenda The governor can add things to the list at any time. It's worth noting that. Well, another item on the special agenda, or a special session agenda, I should say, redistricting. The Trump administration wants state lawmakers to redraw congressional maps and find 5 new Republican seats in the midterms. Now, Democratic members of the Texas delegation in Congress argue that the special session should only focus on the flood response.
It's not just about Texas, but Texas is a cautionary tale of what's to come when an out-of-control president and an administration demand loyalty to them rather than the people and places that Republicans are elected to represent and whom they have sworn to represent.
If Texas redraws maps, leaders in California and other states are threatening to do the same to help Democrats. On social media, California Governor Gavin Newsom replied to a post about the redistricting push, writing, quote, "Two can play this game." New numbers show inflation is up nearly 3% from this time last year. President Donald Trump is brushing off the numbers, though. As ABC's Perry Russom reports, economists say we are just starting to see some of the effects of the tariffs.
President Trump brushing off the latest numbers on inflation, up 2.7% from this time last year, its highest level since February.
Very slight. Essentially, they were exactly as anticipated. Very low inflation.
Economists say we are just starting to see some of the effects of Trump's tariffs. The cost of houses and apartments up 0.2%, food 0.3%, furniture 1%, toys up nearly 2%. Prices are down for eggs, new and used vehicles, and airfare. The numbers appear to undercut the president's claims that Americans would not face higher prices from his trade war. Trump once again slamming Fed Chair Jerome Powell for not lowering interest rates.
He's way late. Interest rates should be coming down. We have a very, very successful country. We should have the lowest interest rate anywhere in the world, and we don't. Jerome Powell has done a terrible job.
The CEO of JP Morgan Chase reportedly defending the independence of the Federal Reserve. Jamie Dimon says the Fed's independence is absolutely critical. Powell's term as Fed chair is up next May.
Trump has made very clear that he wants to replace Powell. He hasn't said specific names, although he says there were 3 or 4 candidates they're strongly considering.
It comes as Trump announces more tariffs on other countries, this time a 19% tariff on Indonesia. It's a relatively small trading partner. Trump says he is open to negotiating with the European Union, despite saying the trade letters he sent are trade deals.
We are talking to the EU, and we're making progress.
Trump says pharmaceuticals will probably be tariffed by the end of the month. He says the tariff at first will be low. He will give the companies about a year or so to move manufacturing into the U.S. And then he says that tariff will be, in his words, very high. Perry Russom, ABC News, Washington.
It is 7:15 and another big story today. Attorney General Ken Paxton requests a Texas man on death row be executed later this year. Today, a judge will hear arguments in the case of Robert Robertson. And Robertson was convicted of killing his 2-year-old daughter back in 2002. He was set to be executed late last year until the Texas Supreme Court blocked it. And with that, KVUE's Malia Mazimoto joins us in the studio this morning with more on the case and big developments here. Malia, what are Robertson's attorneys saying to this?
Well, Hannah, Robertson's attorneys have maintained that he's innocent for the more than 2 decades he's been on death row now. And this February, they actually filed a new appeal claiming again that his daughter's death should not have been ruled a homicide based on new scientific and medical findings. Now, they say the shaken baby syndrome theory that Robertson was convicted on more than 20 years ago has now been debunked. His attorneys also claim that his daughter Nikki died because of pneumonia and other pre-existing medical conditions. They cite the state's junk science law, arguing that Robertson did not receive a fair trial since these scientific theories have since been discredited. Well, late last year, lawmakers started getting involved and tried to subpoena Robertson to come testify in person before a House committee. Attorney General Ken Paxton blocked that from happening twice. Then the Texas Supreme Court stepped in and delayed his execution just hours before it was set to happen. Well, Attorney General Ken Paxton is requesting that Robertson gets executed on October 16th. That's the date he's chosen. But during a hearing this morning in Palestine, Texas, an Anderson County judge could be deciding whether or not they want to reschedule it. Hannah?
Thank you so very much, Malia, for that update. We'll see what happens in Palestine, Texas today. And happening now, some Del Valle ISD teachers pushing back against a new policy that extends their workday. The district made the teachers' 30-minute lunch unpaid and will distribute those 30 minutes however the principals see fit. Officials say teachers should come in early or stay late to help keep students safe during those hours. The union president says it's a longer day without more pay, and teachers never really got a say in the matter. She calls the change a shock.
I think it's going to lower morale in our district, and it's going to contribute to teacher burnout. Teacher burnout is real.
While the district says they are listening, this decision is a student-centered decision and that many other districts don't pay for teachers for their lunch break. And there are 45 days until the Texas football season opener, and we are getting a look at the upcoming season with the SEC Media Days. Everyone wants to hear from Arch Manning, of course. After 2 years of sitting behind Quinn Ewers, Arch is now the starting quarterback for the University of Texas. Manning says he never considered transferring.
Yeah, no, that never really crossed my mind. I knew Texas was the place I wanted to be. It was the city I wanted to be in, with a great education, and I had friends there, and I was still developing and growing as a football player and as a person, so I never really wanted to leave. If there was somewhere else I wanted to be, I would have gone.
Texas will face Ohio State on August 30th. There was a bit of an awkward moment during SEC Media Days when Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian was announced. Check it out. That was the Texas A&M fight song playing when Sark walked out. It is not clear if it was intentional or a mistake. Yvonne thinks it was purposeful and that he was just they were poking fun at him. But, you know, who knows for sure. But Sark did not skip a beat. He simply opened his address in a normal tone and carried on. Texas and Texas A&M face off on November 28th. And that is always a crazy game, but so much fun. And tonight is the ESPY Awards. Be sure to look out for David Walters. He is a former Texas swimming national champion and Olympic gold medalist, and he is currently a firefighter in Los Angeles. He and another firefighter will receive this year's Pat Tillman Award for service. This honor goes to individuals with ties to sports who have demonstrated exceptional service and selflessness. And of course, they had those fires this year. You can watch the ESPYs on KVUE starting at 7 p.m. Thanks again for joining us here on KVUE Plus. We're going to do a quick cut-in with news and traffic and weather, and then we'll be right back here, right here. Good Wednesday morning, Central Texas. I hope y'all are doing okay. We are halfway through this work week, okay? And we are trucking right along. 7:23. I wanted to give you an update on I-35. A little bit earlier, we had, a very serious crash involving an 18-wheeler and a couple vehicles out there. That is all cleared up. We're still kind of having a little bit of stop and go for northbound travel. This is, of course, is at North Lamar, but looking a lot better than it did earlier. That thing was resembling a parking lot. We had miles of traffic just completely stopped. Right now, you can see it's just a little bit of a slowdown approaching that Palmer area, but there is a lot of debris popping up. I think it's just been a really kind of crazy couple weeks right now. We do have a little bit of car trouble in Georgetown, and I will let you know we still have a little over 65 flood-related closures across the region, so still a lot of repairs being done. Of course, they're still working on the FM 1431 bridge, Sandy Creek neighborhood, and you know what? I'll let Casey, though, let you know the good news for all that recovery work today.
Yeah, finally today, kicking off a long stretch of drier conditions that we'll have straight through the week and likely into next week as well. Currently looking at a cloudy sky. I think that'll give way to a mostly sunny sky by this afternoon. Temperatures out the door, upper 70s, both at the airport and Camp Mabry. Nice and dry on our radar. We will stay that way today. Temperatures elsewhere, you're at 80 for Georgetown, 79 for San Marcos, out across the hill country in the middle 70s, with upper 70s for the coastal plains. Mostly sunny today. Those temperatures reaching near 96 degrees, a seasonable mid-July afternoon with that dry weather pattern returning. More typical for this time of year compared to what we've had for the start of July with all that wet and active weather. Thursday, Friday, we keep it dry. I think Friday could be bringing a few showers to our far eastern coastal plain zones. Otherwise, we're dry through the weekend and even early next week with highs back into the upper 90s.
Welcome back to Daybreak Plus, streaming free on your TV. I'm Yvonne Nava. We are continuing our coverage of the deadly floods in Central Texas, and there are so many people who are in need. Joining us now, we have the president and CEO of Central Texas Food Bank, Sari Vatsky, on how they are helping people. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having us.
So how has the Central Texas Food Bank really mobilized in response to this recent flooding?
Well, we've had 6 counties that have been impacted. Starting July 6th, we were on site in the Sandy Creek community in Leander, providing supplies. We were at Round Mountain Church, and then ultimately we've moved over to Danielson Middle School at the Travis County site. We've also set up additional distributions in our 6 counties that need support.
And what are the biggest challenges that you're seeing among flood-affected residents right now? What are you noticing?
You know, it's interesting. We're seeing a lot of things. First and foremost, we're seeing that people are grateful for the support that's coming in, but they are also actually concerned that the support is going to run out in terms of food and water. So we do want everyone to know that we have a first in, last out philosophy, and we're not going anywhere. The other thing that we're hearing and seeing is the fact that people are afraid of looting and don't want to leave their homes to go get food. There's also fear of, ICE at this point. And so there's really a couple of reasons that as many people who are in need aren't coming out, but those who are grateful and just want to make sure that they have support in the long term.
That can be a very uneasy feeling, right? So many different just concerns. So you're mentioning some of the items and what's needed. You mentioned food. What are some other items that are most needed? You're saying maybe food, water, hygiene products. What else can you tell us?
Yeah, the best way to support the Central Texas Food Bank to mobilize directly is financial donations. That provides us the most flexibility to get what we need and to move our trucks where they need to go. There's not a shortage of supplies and support on site for these communities. We know that there are so many people in surrounding areas and in Central Texas that have come to support. But given the infrastructure of the roads and still the flooding and the weather, we're working with authorities to make sure that individuals don't go directly. So really the best way to support at this time is going through organizations that are responding to the crisis.
And also, can people donate just directly on your website? And what is that again?
Absolutely. They can visit centraltexasfoodbank.org.
You mentioned you cover a span of 6 counties. That's such a large, area span. How many individuals or households roughly have you been able to support other than the 6 counties? Can you gauge even at this time how many you've supported?
We're still collecting numbers. Of the 21 counties that we serve, 6 have been impacted. And so that's where we've stood up distributions. We're serving upwards of 1,000 people. For example, we had a mobile pantry scheduled in Kingsland that had to be canceled because of the flooding. One of our partner agencies, church was flooded, and so we stepped in to help support. So not only are we serving families directly at these sites, but we're supporting our partner agencies that have been impacted. So we're tallying the numbers. We know it's over 1,000 people. It could be upwards of 2,000, but we're still trying to calculate. Our focus right now is just getting the food out.
And, hunger is a need everyone in different counties will experience. So even though you're dealing with helping the flood victims, you still have your other, areas that you continue to help out, right? And just with basic needs of food, right?
Yeah, that's a great point, and it really underscores why we need support, not only to help flood victims, but also to continue our daily operations. Before this weather event impacted us, we were already preparing to see an increased need. We serve about 610,000 food insecure individuals throughout 21 counties. So any support is critical at this time. We'll have to backfill the supplies that we're providing. And as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be here for the long haul, continuing to serve communities impacted by the floods.
You all continue to do incredible work. Thank you so much for all of your efforts at Central Texas Food Bank. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you again for having us.
Well, several Austin area restaurants are helping Kerr County and Central Texas recover from the floods. They raised nearly $500,000. Our partners at the Austin American-Statesman report that Guy plus Larry restaurants, that's a big group, they raised more than $206,000. The group owns Red Ash, Roaring Fork, ATX Cocina, and Salty Sow. P. Terry's raised $150,000 in a single day last week, remember that. And Juiceland announced it donated more than $18,000. The hospitality group that owns Clark's Oyster Bar and Sammy's, they've also given more than $90,000. If you'd like to help the flood victims, KVUE and our sister stations, we've all launched the Tegna Texas Flood Relief Fund to raise money for flood recovery. These are all legitimate sources and areas to donate to organizations. So you can scan the QR code on the screen or look for the story on KVUE.com to make a donation. You can also text the word donate to the number on your screen. That is 512-459-9442. We are partnering with the Communities Foundation of Texas to get assistance to where it's needed most. And so far, we've raised more than $442,000.
Well, we're nice and dry this morning, and the good news is we stay that way as we head into the remainder of today. A nice dry weather pattern taking hold across the area that's going to persist here for a prolonged period of time. Music to a lot of our ears, especially up towards the hill country after all of the flooding that we've dealt with really for the first half of July. Currently off to this cloudy start as we now start this Wednesday morning. Those temperatures in the upper 70s. Dew points currently in the lower 70s. We're off to another kind of sticky start, but despite the humidity, we will not be looking at any showers or storms today. Temperatures in the middle 70s out across the hill country. You're at 80 degrees for Georgetown, middle and upper 70s out across the coastal plains right now. All of us again dry. Good to see that on our radar. The little bit of green here you see is just some ground clutter that the radar is picking up on, but nothing right now on the map, and that's how it will be all day long. Sunshine to mostly sunny sky. The clouds that we have right now will eventually start to fade away as things warm on up. Temperature wise, we'll be back into those middle 90s by this afternoon. A seasonable and typical a middle of July afternoon as high pressure builds back in, which is what we're more used to here for this time of year. Got a little bit of a warming trend as well ahead that'll be taking us into the remainder of the week and into next week as well. A couple areas could see a little bit of rain for this week thanks to what's actually going on in the tropics. I'll be taking a closer look at that coming up in a bit.
Thank you so very much, Casey, and a good Wednesday morning to you, Central Texas. I hope y'all are hanging in there, seeing some improvements out there, which is great. And once again, we no longer have a serious crash on I-35 heading into North Austin, so that is good to see. We've got traffic flowing again. What a concept. Here we go in the north and southbound lanes. Looking good on the frontage road as well. But I'll tell you what, I mean, we still have that typical stop and go because of this ongoing expansion project on I-35, one of 3 separate projects going on across our viewing area. We had a stalled vehicle in Georgetown that was causing a little bit of a slowdown starting at 29 here, about a half mile down. That was just hauled off. So we are moving and grooving for that stretch again as well. Taking a look across the rest of the area, seeing a little bit of debris pop up, which I know has been really kind of what's been going on for about a week or so now. Really across the area, that debris remains a concern. We do still have a little over 65 flood-related closures. So remain vigilant and stay safe out there.
All right, welcome back. 7:38 is our time, and some of Hollywood's most iconic movie props are set to be auctioned off, Yvonne.
And they include Darth Vader's lightsaber, oh, that's a good one, and Indiana Jones's bullwhip. David Daniel has the details in today's Hollywood Minute.
You are unwise to lower your defenses.
Darth Vader's lightsaber is going on the auction block. The actual prop used in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi is part of Prop Store's next entertainment memorabilia live auction. The pre-sale estimate, $1 to $3 million. Other key items up for bid: Harrison Ford's bullwhip and belt from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Sauron's helmet from The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, and a neuralizer from Men in Black. The auction is in September. More info at propstoreauction.com.
Ми вперше виїхали за кордони Києва. Ну і, в принципі, ти просто виїжджаєш, як в якийсь інший світ. І знайшли там закинуту сцену
The documentary Match in a Haystack follows an all-female Ukrainian dance company as they mount their first show since the Russian invasion. Iconic ballerina Misty Copeland is an executive producer on the film, which premieres next week in New York, plays in LA, Chicago, Denver, and DC theaters in August, and is due on VOD this fall. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
When they mention Misty Copeland, both of us go, whoa. She's iconic. We love her.
Yeah.
So going back to the props, okay, got to ask, if you could own a prop from any movie, what would it be and why? I have so many.
I want to hear yours, Yvonne.
It's probably from some scary movie. But I'm also
Do you like scary movies?
I love scary movies.
No, I
but
cannot watch
I'm also trying to think, I don't know, I'd have to really think about it. But
it's hard to know. I feel like more costumes I would want. Different people's outfits. I don't know props as such. Maybe I don't watch as many action movies that have physical props, but maybe some sort of costume.
I could see you maybe like the Black Swan ballerina costume or something.
That would
maybe.
be cool. Yeah, or I don't even know, just some different outfits. We're talking about Ferris Bueller's sweater.
Yeah, remember
I
that iconic sweater?
Cool.
I think that was auctioned off a while back.
Yeah,
But I think the thing is when you have that and then you have it in your house, you're going to have to put it, in like a glass
You're not going to be wearing it.
case. Yeah, you have to really take care of it. But what a conversation piece, like when you have friends over or something,
I think you should wear it for dramatic effect. To see what people say. And see who recognizes it. So you know who the movie buffs are.
You know who the real ones are.
Yeah, if they recognize it.
That's interesting. I'd have to see. I mean, let us know if there's a certain item and why. I mean, just send us email, text, whatever.
Send us something.
Or tweet us, it's fine.
Yeah.
So 4 astronauts are scheduled to travel to the moon next year. When they do, some North Texas students, they might be going with them. That's interesting.
Crazy. Wow. Well, Sean Giggy is going to explain to us this story. Listen up.
Fashion is how my soul speaks.
She always knew a fashion management degree from TCU could take her places. But rising senior Adelaide Lovett never dreamed it would take her
and liftoff of Artemis 1
to the moon.
I honestly never thought that I would be in this position, but it's quite surreal if I'm honest.
When NASA landed on the moon in 1969, Houston had a problem.
That's one small step for man.
A problem that has yet to be solved. The seams on spacesuits collected regolith, moon dust. It can be detrimental to both equipment and people.
Absolutely.
And with astronauts scheduled to return to the moon next year, NASA needed help.
Really, I'm still kind of up in space.
So it invited 16 teams of college students to compete and find a solution.
It's a problem NASA has had about 60 years to solve. These students had about 3 weeks.
We're a little bit behind the curve on getting ready for the challenge.
With guidance from their instructor, Leslie Browning-Simone, Adelaide and Susanna Tesfamikal, a fellow fashion student, made samples and put them inside a rock tumbler filled with synthetic moon dust. From there, chemistry students Daisy Lee and Amariz Yusufji, both behind the podium, tested the samples to see how much dust was caught in the seams. And the results weren't good.
I couldn't seem to get it as I wanted it, and so, frustration took over and the mutant was created, so, yeah.
Out of desperation, Adelaide inadvertently created the mutant seam.
No, this did not exist before.
It's more durable, more impenetrable, and highly successful. The mutant seam was awarded Best Innovation by NASA. The agency may now use the technique to design future spacesuits for the moon and even Mars.
Being able to be a part of that and have something be made that helps us get there even quicker is awesome.
Although not everyone is in such a hurry.
Would you put that suit on and go to space?
I love Earth a lot, but I would definitely trust that my suit would be safe to go into space and explore.
Why go to space when you've already done enough to launch a career? In Fort Worth, I'm Sean Giggy.
That is so interesting. But I would think you have to spot clean everything. Like, let me tell you something. I cannot stand dust. I would not do well on Mars.
Oh.
Because Mars is very dusty. It's a dusty planet, right?
But it's moon dust. It's special.
Yeah, this one's different.
And has magic powers.
Yeah, and they said they got to
You
take.
can't get it in like the seams because it's toxic.
Yeah, they're saying like in the
Big problem.
seams and stuff.
Yeah. Big issue.
But what a
It's so
flex
fine
to
out
say
here.
that you helped have played a role in
Yes.
helping astronauts.
She's a student.
Yeah, these fashion students and their little sewing machines. This is kind of iconic. How cool.
Very cool.
The moon dust of it all.
The moon dust, and you know, we are looking at what's going to be a little bit of a forecast that might bring us a bit more dust compared to mud, the mud being all the wet weather that we've had. We will be looking at dry conditions finally settling into the area, a more typical summertime pattern as high pressure builds back in, and we finally get a well-deserved break from all the rain that we have had across the area. Here it is, high pressure starting to budge its way in from east to west. This is going to continue to build across central Texas as we into the next several days and bring us this nice dry stretch of weather that is so well deserved, especially up towards the hill country. The reason why we've been so wet, we've had what has been a chunk of some storm energy coupled with moisture coming in from the south and also the east that has led to these daily chances for showers and storms, the very, very heavy rainfall that we've had. Here's the storm energy now, finally starting to track westward and will continue to do so as high pressure builds directly overhead as we head into tomorrow. That storm energy, it's out of here. We're going to be looking at what should be a much drier forecast because of that. Notice as we into Friday, though, we're going to be tracking a little blip here as we head into Thursday night, Friday morning. Some of that storm energy making a comeback across far east Texas, the Houston area, and Louisiana. This is actually going to be thanks to a little system that we're tracking for the potential of some tropical development, and that could bring some of our viewing area a little bit of tropical moisture as we head into Friday afternoon and Friday evening. Now, the good news is it should not be the hill country. It should not be the I-35 corridor, those areas that have been most vulnerable and have the most saturated soils from all the rain and the flooding that we've had. Friday, that moisture is going to be coming in from the east, so it's our eastern counties, coastal plains that may be looking at a couple more showers on the way for Friday, but the good majority of us stay dry. It's because of this system that we're currently tracking out near the Florida Panhandle. National Hurricane Center is still giving this a 40% medium chance of becoming a tropical depression or storm. If it does become a tropical storm, it'll be taking the name Dexter. This will be working its way westward, kind of skirting along the North Gulf Coast as we head into about the next 24 to 36 hours. Models in pretty good agreement on that. And notice as we enter Friday, it starts to make a turn more to the north. And we do have our models generally agreeing upon that. None of them take it into central Texas. So we are expecting this turn to the north before it reaches us. I still think the far western side of this moisture envelope could be clipping some of our far eastern counties. Blocking high pressure, the same area of high pressure that's bringing us the drier conditions, is going to block that system from heading our way. Some of that moisture, though, again, could make its way into our area in the form of a couple showers for areas like Fayette County, Lee County, Milam County, but everywhere farther west, shouldn't see any impacts from that. Cloudy skies, we kick off now this Wednesday morning. Temperatures in the upper 70s out of the airport in Camp Mabry. Future tracker, nice to see. No rain today. Mostly sunny. Those winds to the south still making it feel humid, but we won't have, again, the storm energy to help pop up some showers and thunderstorms as we've had day in and day out. Thursday, still a dry day. As we get into Friday, that's when we could start to see some of that tropical moisture just beginning to try to budge its way into, again, our far eastern counties, the areas that were not hard hit by the rain through 5, 6, 7 o'clock. Fayette County again, Lee County, maybe Bastrop County. You'll have a chance to see a few of those showers work their way in by Friday night. Something that we'll be monitoring in case this does manage to budge its way a little bit farther west. But right now, the trends have been looking promising that we will stay dry across the Austin area from that and certainly farther west across the hill country. 96 for high temperature today, middle 70s as we head into tonight. As we take a look at your remainder of your 7-day forecast, we have this dry stretch of weather that continues Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend, and even next week with temperatures that'll slowly be warming back into the upper 90s.
Whoa, I like the way you say things. You said a moisture envelope. That was kind of cool. Okay. You learn something new every day. All right, y'all, here's a live look out here. We are looking much better right now on I-35. We just have the ongoing construction. Another day in paradise. It is still slowing down in the northbound lanes, but it's a whole lot better than what, all 3 of those lanes being blocked earlier. That was such a mess. Really, we had a couple different things simultaneously going on. All that's cleared out. Taking a look as well at southbound travel, also looking great today as we are heading out the door. We have quite a bit of debris popping up here and there. We've got some light winds out there. Casey was showing us, but That stalled vehicle, once again, for my good friends coming in from Georgetown, that has cleared up, so looking much better today. We do still have closures across the map at play, though, and I do once again want to mention those bridges that are going on. So we had Jessica Cha out there live today, which was really good to see for FM 1431 and kind of getting eyes on that, especially since we know that's going to probably take a good while to fully finish. And then, of course, in Sandy Creek, we now have a functioning bridge for a temporary functioning bridge for that vehicle traffic, which has been kind of a game changer as far as getting things cleaned up and getting folks back to work again. So once again, here's the ongoing work at FM 1431. They're hoping it can take 60 days. That is fingers crossed. And of course, with this upcoming school year, it's going to get kind of tricky out there. But once again, the main story is that crash on I-35 is cleared up. So we are moving and grooving again.
7:49 is your time. We're talking about the Emmys already because the 2025 Emmy nominations are out, and this year streaming once again with many of the big nominations.
Oh, that is so right. And as ABC's Melissa Dawn reports, and I'm very happy to say, it's Apple TV's Severance leading the pack this year.
Hello, my name is Mark S. And I have, of my own free accord, elected to undergo the procedure known as severance.
Severance leading the field of nominees for the upcoming 77th Primetime Emmy Awards, the workplace drama which streams on Apple TV, making the cut with the most nominations, a staggering 27.
Let's just get to it.
Agreed.
Actors Harvey Guillen and Brenda Song announcing the nods from the Television Academy's Wolf Theater in Los Angeles.
Severance, it's the most nominated show of the night. It's an Academy darling. The show is led by Adam Scott. It's produced and directed by Ben Stiller. And I think it's the show to beat.
HBO's season 3 of White Lotus not too far behind with 23 nominations, seeing first-time nominees in Scott Glenn, Jason Isaacs, and Amy Lou Wood.
I actually want to talk to you about awards season. Just make sure you keep your winter clear.
The studio also getting 23 nods, the most ever for a comedy in a single year.
It breaks the record for the most awarded freshman comedy of all time, and it ties the record that The Bear just set last year as the most nominated comedy series of all time.
This script is amazing.
Hulu's Only Murders in the Building with 7 nominations and some snubs.
We often make this joke. Can you imagine just being any actor from The White Lotus and you're just not nominated? So one of the big misses I noticed off the board was Leslie Bibb. And then no Steve Martin from Only Murders in the Building or Selena Gomez, but Martin Short made the cut.
I have been waiting for this moment.
ABC's Abbott Elementary making the grade this year, representing broadcast series nominated for Best Comedy. And up for Best Reality Competition Show, RuPaul's Drag Race, The Amazing Race, Survivor, Top Chef, and last year's winner, The Traitors. Also nominated for Best Talk Series, only 3 shows: The Daily Show, Jimmy Kimmel Live, and The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Melissa Dawn, ABC News, Los Angeles.
We can talk about this for so long. So Severance, season 1, I couldn't finish it, and I was like,
Yvonne,
I don't know what's going on, but now I'm being told that I need to stick with
I'm like,
it. Go ahead.
She's the best show I've ever seen in my life. And season 2, the finale was the best piece of television I've ever seen.
And
I loved season 1. Season 2 was good. I think it got, for me, a little lost in the weeds at times, and I just the finale was good, very good. But the ending for me was disappointing. I didn't like how it ended. I didn't like how it ended.
But you were shocked. We're not going to give any spoilers away,
but on how it ended.
I was crying. My heart was beating. I had to take a moment and stare at the wall for a few seconds. I am not kidding. It took a while.
She said it changed my entire structure.
It's so good.
What is that company? My dad has a hat that has the company on it, and he wears it around, and everyone walks up and
Does he like it?
that hat.
Oh, yeah.
And my mom's like, this is your dad's favorite hat.
Well,
and I'm like, what?
It's an actual company, though, like that exists in
No.
America, isn't it?
No, it's made up.
There's like Lumen
It's Lumen's made up.
It's
So,
like a Lumen Field, like a football field. It's like Lumen Field. Am I wrong?
I don't know.
It's not the same Lumen if there's one.
No, it's a different one.
It's a different
but
one.
I think there is one named Lumen.
Okay, fun fact though, I did meet the writer when I was in LA one time. He was doing this Apple TV event, and he actually has such a cool story. He was just a Postmates driver, and he had this really good script for like a super long time.
No.
And he had it sitting.
Oh,
he knew
wow.
like it was going to be really great one day. He had like an agent, things like that. But then finally someone saw it, and Ben Stiller's team got on it because he's producing it all. and they
Stick
loved
with
it. It's such a great idea, and
I
love it.
It's like an ethical dilemma, and it makes you really think. That's why I like it, because I feel like you have to really think about it yourself. Like, I mean, for the people that haven't watched it, just go watch it. I don't want to get too into it.
It's a workplace. It's about the words.
It's about the workplace.
I'm going to give it a chance.
Work-life balance.
Well, 7:53 is your time, and before we go, here are 3 things to know this morning. The Marble Falls Area Volunteer Fire Department announced an end of watch for Chief Michael Phillips, who was swept away in the floods. The department says he passed away while responding to a call on July 5th. He has not been found. We are praying for his family. Department staff say Chief Phillips was more than a friend, a mentor, and a leader. He was a member of the family.
Well, TxDOT is now working to fast track the replacement of the Cow Creek Bridge on RM 1431. It's a critical connection between Lago Vista and Marble Falls there. Officials say once a contractor is selected, TxDOT crews will start construction on that crossing. Now, they hope to complete the work within 60 days. And with the school year right around the corner, TxDOT officials say they're also working with Marble Falls ISD to create a plan for students who live across that bridge so they can get to and from school.
And today, Austin's Homeland Security and Emergency Management Office hosting its July Emergency Preparedness pop-up event. The first 25 people will get an emergency kit backpack with lanterns, battery-powered chargers, personal cooling supplies, and items for kids and pets. You can get one backpack per household. To pick up yours, stop by Twin Oaks Branch Library.